When you see these photos, which person would you rather feel like? Most of us probably want to feel happy and positive. And there's a great book about the effect of positivity and positive psychology on our lives, on our productivity, on our health, and on our general well-being. And it's called Positivity by Barbara Fredrickson. I highly, highly recommend that you check it out. It looks like this, orange cover. It also comes with a blue cover if it's a different edition. So in this book, she's a PhD, and she studied the effects of positivity on our psychology, a branch of psychology known as positive psychology. And she learned that by focusing on positivity and by having at least 3 positive experiences for every 1 negative experience, that you can dramatically improve your life. Again, your productivity, your health, your well-being. Now, there's more to life than just positivity. So negative things are going to happen too. And as the field of positive psychology has evolved from when she wrote this book in 2009, there's been further research done, and we're trying to clarify and further research this concept of positivity. And there were a couple of researchers in the Journal of Happiness, volume 17, Tim Lomos and Itai Ibsan, who really looked at positive emotions and found that it's contextual. It depends on the situation and the environment, as in terms of if something is viewed as positive or negative, and the ups and downs of each emotion and almost the counter emotions of different experiences. So it's important to know that negative things are going to happen, and that's definitely covered in this book as well, and to try to focus on positive, but to know that what's positive in one situation may be different in another. Now, there was another research experiment done by someone named Matthew White in The Psychology of Wellbeing, Volume 6, and he's talking about the obvious effects and the obvious positive effects of positive psychology on education. However, without further clarification as to what positive psychology really is and what well-being really is and why it's so important and why it has the effect that it has, it's hard for it to really stick in the policies of school systems. There's so much more focus on literacy and numeracy than there is on well-being, and really trying to figure out how we can improve that. So the reality is that more research is needed on this, and more clarification is needed on positive psychology and what it really means and how we can best implement it in our lives, in our schools, and in our daily lives. It's really important to remember that there's going to be positive and negative. Both are going to happen, but if you focus on positivity, you'll tend to have the best outcomes. Does anyone have any questions on this before I end? Okay, I see people saying that they want to be the person on the left, the happy one. Interesting. One person said that the person on the left seems to be happy, but maybe the person on the right is showing their true feelings. So if you missed that, I'll just put up the photos one more time before the end. Thank you so much for listening. Is positivity not subjective? That's a great question. That's exactly right. That's why context is so important. Take this down here. So it's important to know in terms of confidence, optimism, if this is a positive thing in certain situations, well, there might be situations where being a bit more cautious and a bit more skeptical would actually be more beneficial to your security, your safety, and your outcomes. So that's really what those researchers Tim Lomas and Itai Ibsan were talking about in the Journal of Happiness Studies. I highly recommend you check that out if you're interested in that, because they go really in depth on studying the kind of the antithesis emotions of each other. For example, love and anxiety are kind of two that they have at odds with each other. And if you have anxiety, a lot of times that would be viewed as a negative emotion. But there are times where fear and anxiety do serve us. So that's where we come into whether something is a positive experience or not. It seems to depend on not only the context, but also the individual. So I think that's a really, really great question. Thanks for asking that. And I saw one last question I'll take. Which is, do you feel that some people use negative experiences to justify negative behavior? I would say yeah. A lot of people, so I'm a yoga teacher, and there's a thing called samskara, which is like a blocked energy based on a previous experience that you've had. So all of the experiences that we've had really help to mold us and make us who we are, and we can use these experiences to define us or influence us significantly in a lot of cases. So in yogic practices, there's a lot, and even in therapy, and as we're talking about psychology, in letting things go and processing through past experiences so that we don't carry those with us unnecessarily into the future as much as possible. And really, humans in general are pretty subjective. We try to be objective. That's why more research is needed, more as objective-based research as we can get, because this is obviously so important to our everyday lives, and quantifying it in a scientific way has been challenging. But in the last 10 years, we've made some progress, and I hope that we see more progress as we go. I hope you have a great day, and remember, focus on the positive.